Hi, I'm Michele Celentano, family portrait photographer and Westcott Top Pro. Today we'll be going over scouting locations for family portraits outside, what I look for, from background to foreground to middle ground, and I might even throw some posing tips in there. I know that it's early and the family will be here in about an hour and a half, so I have to consider where the sun will be in about an hour and a half to 2 hours. And so as I'm scouting, I'm kind of looking at our trees, our overhang, just to see where it might be moving. There's this corner, which I also think is a great option. And so when I'm out on location, there's a few things I'm looking for. The first is the direction of light. So my direction of light is going to be from over here. I can use that light as a backlight or a hair light, but later on in a couple of hours, it's going to be directly overhead, so that won't work as well for backlight. But we'll still have all that really pretty color, light texture coming through. So the first thing I look for is direction of light. If it's the middle of the day, we have a hot overhead sun, I'm going to be looking for areas of shade that will offer some directional lighting. But that's why then on days like this, I'll bring external strobe lighting. We'll be bringing out the FJ400 and a modifier so that I can use the available light, but then I can light the subjects properly without that overhead sun causing raccoon eyes and deep shadows. But this is a really pretty area because we have this corner rock that is also another great place for posing. And again, I have light coming through the background, which gives us the texture, and we have all that pretty green coming through. So the first thing is direction of light. The second thing is if the sun is going to be overhead, where can I work in open shade so that I can then use available light either as a main source of light from the available light or add a strobe in. So that's what we'll be doing today. The second thing I start to look for is texture and light coming through the background so that when I'm shooting wide open apertures, that background can go creamy, dreamy, soft, bokeh, out of focus. So for me, it's more about the texture, color, and the depth of the background than it is about the pretty background. So I'm not as concerned about a beautiful background as I am about knowing that at wide open apertures, it will just have that bright, bokeh, dreamy, creamy feel to it. As I'm walking around this particular area, I noticed this area here. Another thing I like to look for on location is foreground, middle ground, background areas. So this spot right here is beautiful grass. The sun is hitting it really beautifully. The middle ground will be the shadow area right behind it where I put the subjects, and then we still have a beautiful background. So I'll just walk over there so you can see what that will look like. So this is beautiful texture, light, bouncing, depth. That will be our foreground, and I can easily put subjects here so that I'm shooting from that direction, and you'll get all this pretty texture, light dancing on all that pretty grass. Middle ground, I'm in shade, maybe I have a little hair light on me, and then we have a really pretty background. So this is a great area. I'm really excited to shoot here. So continuing our walk through the park, and this is an amazing park. It's absolutely huge. So it's being from Arizona and having all of this beautiful natural shade is like magic to me. So this path right here is really interesting. One direction, it's going to be complete shade, very dark down there, depending on our settings. And if we go this way in an hour when the sun is coming up over here, we'll get more texture, more depth, more light coming through. So it just depends on the look I want this afternoon, but this gives us that pathway look, that walking through a forest look, something we can do for full lengths with family holding hands, walking towards me. This we can use more portrait-like because we have a little bit more light and depth coming through that background. I found another gold spot here in this park, like truly gold. So this is a covered shade, pavilion, gazebo, whatever it is you want to call it. But walking along here, knowing that I'm going to be shooting at high light, like midday, we're going to have what most photographers would call the worst light of the day for portraits. Finding this covered shade is amazing. There's at least 4 locations or 4 different backgrounds I can create just by using this covered pavilion. So starting here, I can shoot in this direction here, and again, we have all of that light and texture, and then we have the stone bridge and more light and texture behind that in covered shade. Keeping in mind here, I'm definitely going to be using our FJ400. We'll be using the medium octa here to create the studio lighting I want on my subject's face. This actually sort of creates an outdoor studio for us with multiple backgrounds. Another thing that is important for me when I'm out scouting locations is finding objects in nature that will actually serve as a posing prop. So this table right here is perfect. We've got different layers. So we could use the ground, the seat, the table itself. We can pose endlessly on this little picnic table out here. So using that, and that's one background. If I come around to the other side and I use this kind of straight on, I have this beautiful bridge. I have all of that stone building, keeping in mind again that it's going to be out of focus. I generally tend to shoot as wide open as I can with families. And so there's location number 2. If I turn this way, I have all of this lush green just hanging out right there. It's so pretty. The leaves are hanging over. And then what I think might be my favorite spot is by just changing my camera angle, continuing to use this covered shade, I have those rocks and those trees and that whole scene there. They're 4 completely different looking backgrounds. And for that reason alone, we could spend the entire afternoon here. This is also a great option if it's raining and the clients don't want to reschedule, your family doesn't want to reschedule. If you know that you have this available to you, and if I lived in this area, oh my gosh, I would be at this park every single day. But it's a great option for shooting in the middle of the day, shooting in the rain. You are completely covered here. So it really is like having an outdoor studio. I am in love with this spot. We are definitely using this today. Our family has arrived. I'm super excited. We have John, who is posing for me right now in that spot we talked about when we scouted this location that offers us this texture foreground. John is our middle ground and background. We have our Westcott FJ400, the Rapid Box Switch Octa Medium, which is about a 36-inch modifier. The first thing I did out here was I got my exposure for the background. So I'm metered for that, and I love the way the background looks, but then our subject is completely underexposed. I'm a little bit old school, so I like using a light meter so that I know exactly what I'm gonna be getting. So now I'm gonna go over and light meter John to find out what I need to set that light to. And so we know it's firing, and we're gonna come over here. My settings, just for informational purposes, are low ISO, which is like a 50 ISO. I'm at 250th of a second, and I'm crazy. I like to shoot at like 2.8. So I've set all of my settings for that, and we're gonna just go and do a light meter test. When I'm outside and I really wanna make sure I'm capturing the strobe, I turn the dome of my light meter in so that it captures just the strobe that's going to hit it. And I get a 3.6 on here. So we're metering this side of his face. It's 3.6, 4.0, which means I need to dial that light back. Is that A group?
Yes.
So that's A group. Now I have 3.6, but I really want somewhere around 2.8. So we'll test that one more time, 3.2. I'm gonna go with 3.2 because when we wrap around this side, we're gonna get that 2.8. So let's see what that looks like first. Once we have that setting, we can stay in this spot for quite a while because the sun isn't gonna move until it hits over those trees. So when I'm building my groups, I'll usually start with one of the kids first, then we'll add in Eva, we'll photograph her with each of the boys, and I'll just start building on these groups. I like to stay in one location and do a lot of different groups so that later on, when we're in our sales session, if they want to do a grouping on a wall, everything in this area will look the same. Once we're finished in this location, we'll move on to a different one. I'm also using my Canon R6, and the 135 millimeter 1.8 lens. So again, I'm shooting at 250th, 2.8, and a low ISO. Okay, so the height of the light is really nice. It's just about that chin level, but for me, it's a little bit too dramatic. So I like it just feathered a little bit more. So we bring it across him, so we're catching way more of the edge of the light than the full light. So I actually move it forward just a little bit so that it's almost going fully in front of him, so that we get more light on the other side of his face. And I can also turn his body just a little bit so that we light his face just a little bit more. So a lot of times with kids, when they get in front of the camera, they get, you know, very self-conscious, or mom has over-prepped them, like, let me see your best smile, your good smile. You know, kids don't know the difference between their good smile and their not good smile. So a lot of times I just start talking to them, working them through, and I'll just keep clicking. Even though I'm not really changing anything about the pose, I'm really looking for expression here. So, you know, what sports do you play? Who's your favorite player? You know, and then I'll just be silly and say dumb things. And then if I feel like I'm still struggling to get a natural smile, he's awesome, he's being fantastic, but it's hard to get that natural smile. So then I end up doing like mean face, let me see your sad face. And in between all of that, there's a genuine smile. I always say that having the kids make funny faces actually loosens up the facial muscles. So when they've been standing here a long time, very stiff, it helps to loosen up those muscles. So that's my game plan. So add mom, don't move. You're gonna turn your face this way just a little bit more, tilt your head in this way just a little bit more. And can we move that light forward just a drop towards me? And I'm actually gonna lower our light just a little bit. Remember when I tested it, it was like 3.6 and I'm shooting at 2.8. So I'm gonna take it down just a drop to soften it just a little bit. Perfect. And that did the trick. So turn your face to me this way just a little bit more. I love it. Squeeze in, come on, you guys like each other. Squeeze! John, what is that? What is happening there? What is happening? Lean towards me just a little bit more. Squeeze, yes. As the group grows, I will push this light forward more so that we're getting a bigger spread of light on our subjects. So the further back the light goes, the more dramatic it will get. The further in front of the subjects the light goes, the softer and the more spread we'll get on it. So you're gonna come over here because you're nice and tall, and your right foot will come right between your mom's feet right there, and then we'll come around this way. So, but leave a little space, right? Yep, beautiful. Now you're gonna lean over her shoulder, bring your hand to your pants pocket again, and then this hand will go to your, yep, perfect. Beautiful. Turn your shoulder into her just a little bit more, and then watch those fingers on his shoulder right there. So I'm building on the group. That's the key. Always build. We don't have to start all over with every pose from the ground up. So we started with John, I added mom. Now she's gonna have a portrait with both of her boys. So again, I know it sounds crazy that I'm shooting at 2.8, but Thomas, lean over your mom's shoulder a little bit more, a little bit more. Now all their noses are on that same focal plane, right? Once I'm where I'm at and I have everything the way I want it, I'm on a tripod, everything's dialed in, now it's all about expression. All right, tell me which one of your boys toots the loudest. So there's that image, I love it. Now we're gonna build on that. Dan, come on over. Okay. So your left foot is back here, right foot moves forward, this hand will drop back here, and this thumb will go into your pants pocket. So again, this is the macro pose. Where do I want them? Where do I want to place them in the image? Oh, that's beautiful. So separate your feet for me just a little bit more. And I'm actually going to switch Thomas and Dan. So we have a slope here. There's a little bit of a slope. And so it's going up this way. When I put Dad there, he got almost a little bit too tall for me personally in this image. Whereas now I've balanced the heights a little bit better. So you got it, Thomas. Go this way just a little bit more. Your left foot goes behind your brother's foot and your right foot comes forward. Beautiful. Then put that hand in your pants pocket for me right there. You got it. Yep, and then just relax the thumb. Yeah, go ahead and put it all the way in. And then Dan, take that thumb to the outside of your pocket. And yep, and then turn your hips this way for me a little bit. Beautiful. Lean over Eva's shoulder for me just a little bit. Yep, beautiful. Thomas, lean this way for me just a drop. There you go. So now I've balanced out the heights. And now we're gonna move that light forward just a little bit more so I make sure everybody's nice and even. The power is pretty much the same. I'm just going further across the group. All right, everybody lean into the center. Squeeze it together, beautiful. Squeeze bigger, lean towards me. Yes, faces together, bigger. When you're handheld, especially outside, and especially working with a group and posing and moving in and out, even if you have a spider belt or, you know, a strap that you're wearing, every time you change something, you have to recompose, and it's never quite the same. I like the availability of having a tripod, just like you would in a studio, so that I can set everything up exactly the way I want it. And then when I add people, I'm not changing very much. I might move in or move back a little bit, but I don't have to put the camera down, pick it up. Now this is really important too. Say for example, there's 10 images of the family all together, and there's none where all the eyes are open and everyone looks their best and I have to swap a head. I don't do it very often, but when you're working on a tripod like this and you get those 10 images in a row, it's really easy to just change one face in an image if you need to get that smile or anything like that, because nothing has changed. Everything is the same. So it's super easy to do really fast. Also, it frees my hands up so that when I'm communicating with people, one, my face isn't behind the camera. I can look behind the camera, set my composition, nothing's changing. We're in manual, no settings are changing. I don't have to think about it. All I want to think about is working with the client and the family that's in front of me so that they're seeing my face and reacting to my personality, and I'm just not sitting behind a camera saying, okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, great. We got a lot of good combinations in the first area we were at that we had scouted earlier. Beautiful. I want to show you something a little bit different now. Here we came along the path that we looked at earlier. Beautiful, soft light. It's so pretty here. We've got a nice little breeze coming through. For this, I see full length. And so this will be a quick spot. We'll do some full length portraits here where they can be just together, holding hands, walking forward, walking back, and then we'll move on to our next location. A key to full length is making sure that the camera height is about waist level of your subjects so that they're in proportion. We don't want to have like looking up or looking down at our subjects. So I try, this is my waist level, but I can see from about here, we'll need to make this just a little bit higher. And then I will put them where I like them. And then we will test that light again. So let me just see where we are. I took my first shot just to meter the light back here. It's a little bit of a darker scene than we have. I'm gonna bump up to 100 ISO, and now that's just perfect for the overall scene. And then we'll just add a little bit of fill into here. Probably be a little bit straighter on, less directional, but we'll test it out. Come on over here, fam. So I kind of want to block this. So let's see. Thomas, let's put you right here. Let's see how that looks. But facing that way for me. There you go. See, it's like it doesn't even exist. Okay, and then I'm gonna put you right here, kind of a little sassiness, and then you're gonna be right here, and then I'll have you on this side. So here again, we're doing the macro pose. You'll step right into this space. So Eva, that's your spot right there. Beautiful. Turn your back to him a little bit. Yep, and hands a little bit lower for me. And then I want you just like this. Beautiful. Come away just a little bit. So step away, just a drop. Step away, just a drop. Step away that way, just a drop. You stay right where you are. Perfect. Hands in your pocket. And then you come out this way just a little bit. Same thing here, toe out. When I'm doing full length, I'll separate out the bodies just a little bit more to give it just a little bit more of a dynamic pose. So again, I just switched to a 70 to 200. So I wanted a little bit more length than the 135. So when you're outside shooting with strobe, if you want to see a little bit more of that available light in the background, just open up that shutter speed a tiny bit until you absolutely love where it is. And I love where this is right now. We're gonna do what I like to call the fake walk. So it's step and lift, rock back, step and lift, rock back. Try to make it a little bit more natural. Yep, okay. Step and lift, yep. This is it with this location because I knew that this was gonna be for full lengths, a little bit further away, seeing more of the overall scenery. So that's 2 locations down. Now we're gonna go over to that, that covered shade. It's gonna just be stunning. Okay, so here we are at the pavilion overhang, what I called the outdoor studio earlier. I've set my camera up. I've decided to stay on the 70 to 200 because I want the compression. This is going to be our posing tool. And I'm gonna work with the whole family here because it's getting close to wrap up time. So, Dan, I'm gonna have you come right up here. Okay, so you'll be right here on this spot. Yep, and move that foot just a little bit more and then twist towards me a little bit. You got it, okay. And Eva, you're gonna be right in here. So we'll cross the ankles and you'll lean back on. So Dan, you're gonna relax a little bit and lean over her just a little bit more. Perfect, and relax this arm. Yep, bring it to her elbow. Perfect, and then bring that back arm to like her arm, like touch her arm right back there. Like you like her. Beautiful. And the background looks amazing. I went to 250th, but I'm gonna take it down to 200th just so we open up that background a little bit more. It's the balance between the backlight and the strobe. All right, so lean into her a little bit, tilt your head towards her. Yes, that's it right there. So the background is just dreamy and color and just light and texture and depth. It's the background is not the focus of this image. Come on over, guys. Okay, so John, you got an important job here. Are you ready? So you're gonna come up here. You're gonna put one knee here and one knee back there. So come from this side. Hopefully the table doesn't flip. Yep, but bring this knee closer a little bit here. Yep, and you're gonna be leaning over your dad's shoulder. Go this way just a little bit more. So go that way with your knees. Yep, and then come this way just a drop. Yep, uncomfortable, huh? But you look good. You're gonna come right here. So it hurts. You'll get over it. You're only 11. Okay, so so this knee goes right here and then you kind of like lean in over. So you wanna get your face right in this spot. Okay, all right, you okay there? Yep. You can come like a little bit lower on your knees, but watch this hand. Don't put this hand back here and watch those creepy fingers back there. So hide this hand behind your dad all the way. Bring it down, bring it down. Yep. So take this hand, put it right there. There you go. Now move this foot forward for me just a little bit more. Perfect. And then bring this hand right there, up a little bit taller for me. And then John, come this way just a drop. This hand's gonna go, ready? Hang on, right there. Okay, now lean together. Beautiful. Oh, you guys, yes. John, twist your shoulder towards your dad in the back a little bit more, the other way. You had it the first time. Yep, hold it right there. So I'm just backing up just a drop. Oh my gosh, I love it. Now, I'm gonna just turn the whole thing around to get something a little bit differently. Right now behind them is all green and textured. I would actually like to use that stone wall and bridge to get just a little bit of a different look. So this looks completely different now, which is so cool. Hold it right there. So now that wall back there, it's bright, so it goes a little bit darker. I mean, it goes a little bit brighter. And so now I'm just gonna dial it down. Let's get a 2/50th of a second. Okay, big smile for me. Stay, yes! So you'll be here. You can bring this knee here, and you're gonna kind of just lean over your brother on that shoulder. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah! Let's see, lean it in just a little bit more. Now, as long as we get their faces on the same focal plane, I can stay at 2.0, which you just completely did for me. Hold it right there. Ah! The background is really just a small, small piece of this image. Tilt your head in for me just a little bit, Thomas. You got it. Turn your face to that light just a little bit more. You got it. Tilt it in just a drop more. So you'll be right here. So Dan, slide that foot under here because we did mom and the boys earlier, but not dad and the boys. So we'll use this opportunity. So thumb in the pants pocket, just put that arm right back there. Go behind Thomas a little bit more. Yep. Yes, now lean into him a little bit. Thomas, lean toward your dad just a little bit. Beautiful. Dan, lean that back shoulder to me a little bit more. And then watch this hand. We don't want that fist coming out from the top. Then this leans forward, chin up, relax the shoulder. Then that leans here. Then bring your face to me a little bit closer. So sometimes I have to jump in and just move. Yes, that's perfect. Now we have it. Beautiful, you guys. Okay, so Come on over, Eva. Your mom's gonna go right here. So in this case, I know that I need a little bit more height over Eva's shoulder, so I'm gonna put Thomas in that spot. If something's not working, we just move it around a little bit. Perfect, Dan, lean over those boys. Yep, yes! That's what I'm talking about right here. Chin up for me, Thomas, just a little bit. That's gonna be a 40 by 800 on your wall, right?
That's beautiful.
You're welcome. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, how much fun was this? Really, I mean, if we wanted to, we could keep going. We could go in that direction. We can go in this direction. So finding that open shade, finding the direction of light, finding where the beautiful details are, where I can turn in a different direction and get a completely different looking background. And then just meter your scene for the ambient light, and then go ahead and add in some beautiful, soft strobe. It's so easy to do. This entire time we've been using one light on location. We've used one light for 1, 2, 3, and 4 people all in the same image. And so it doesn't need to be complicated. It can be really, really simple. Even if you're out on your own and you don't have an assistant with you, you can definitely take one light and a light stand with you anywhere you go. This was a fantastic family to photograph, adorable, all of you. I mean, it's really easy when you have great subjects, so my job was easy.